Shalom, Yasharala. It's your brother AHBAD from GMS YAHAWAH, GMS in Petersburg, Florida. I want to give all honor, glory, and praise to YAHAWASHI, Bahashim Chakadash, the bonus to my elder apostles of great millstone, who rule well, sing honor salutation to all you sincere brothers, constantly push his words through sincerity. And I also want to say peace and blessings to all the sincere men, women, and children that consist of the body of YAHAWASHI, who are also members of the 1/3. And also peace and blessings to the confusion of faces in the four corners of the earth. Alright, Shalom. As you can see by the title of this article, it says an armed man was headed to church to fulfill a prophecy. Police stopped him. And as you can see, he looks like, as you would say, a so-called Negro. Alright? But in a sense, we know that, he looked like a so-called Negro, Hispanic, or Native American, however you want to call it, or Israelite, as what we are deemed today. The so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans are the Hebrew Israelites. They are the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They are descendants of the people of the Bible, so to say. And looking at this incident, I'm just going to read a little bit here from the top of the article. This is from the Washington Post, WashingtonPost.com. It was Sunday morning in Seguin, Texas, when a restaurant employee noticed something amiss. A man was wandering around donned in sunglasses and a surgical mask, carrying something that too closely resembled a handgun not to call the police. Alright? Now I'm just going to scroll down a little bit. Now I said the first officer on the scene described the same oddly dressed person as wearing tactical style clothing, a surgical face shield, carrying a loaded firearm, and extra ammunition. Now for one, there have been numerous incidents where Jake, or should I say so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans have had no weapons on them at all, and they were shot down even with handcuffs on. All types of incidents. But here it is. This individual has a surgical face shield, carrying a loaded firearm with extra clips and tactical gear on. And on top of that, he's not dead. Like I say, man, you have to be circumspect in this thing. Because they use certain words and use certain individuals and create certain scenarios, man, to make you think that, oh man, this guy is evil, or these people that's always talking about prophecy are evil. Listen, first and foremost, the Lord said it'd be carnal minded is death, and I'm going to pull that out, but I'm just pulling out a few key points, which is going to go to show you, man, it's going to be a time where Esau going to try and roll on us, man. Well, this so-called white man, woman, and child who are Edomites, the biblical Edomites of the Bible, we know that they always devise plans and scenario is called ordo ab chaos. You create the chaos, you create the disorder, and then you come up with a solution. In other words, you make the problem, and then you come up with a solution. So you try and make this seem like that this is a problem. When it's going back to the article, it says, when asked, the man later identified by police as Tony D. Albert explained that he was on his way to church to fulfill a prophecy. Well, for one, you got to go back to the scriptures, man. I just want to pull out a few key precepts, man. This is the proof point. Because he said he was doing this to fulfill a prophecy, right? Well, first, the spirit of Yahawashi is prophecy. And the scripture says, if they speak not according to this word, there was no light in them, man. Alright? So when you're speaking about prophecy being fulfilled, you got to understand this as well. Romans chapter 8, verse 4. I'm going to start at 5. For they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh, but they that are after the spirit, the things of the spirit. And we know that the spirit is the words of the Bible. John 6:63. Alright? John 1:1. Isaiah 8:20. Verse 6. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. So what prophecy does it say for you to go into a church with a loaded gun, alright, with tactical gear on and a surgical mask? What precept is that? That is not in the Bible. It even says to be carnal minded. It's death. That was carnal. That wasn't spiritual. Hey, listen, and we don't go out and commit heinous acts, or we actually out there promoting violence, or you know igniting riots. We're not doing that. There have been incidents where people have come up, but all we're simply doing is reading the Bible. That's our tool. That's our sword. And the modern day gun today is the sword, man. So deep down, I see this as a way of Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, possibly devising another plan, another way to try to justify themselves to coming down and apprehending us in that day, so to say. This is 2 Corinthians 2:11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. And this has also been deemed the year of Charagma by Elder Apostle Tahar and the Spirit of Power YAHAWASHI, which means what? The year of the chip, the year of incision, the year of microchips being implanted in people. And then it's just so much going on through the spirit. It's so heavy to keep up on everything, man. But you tend to. So, but this device right here is a ill-devised plan, Now, whether this man is mentally ill or whether they deem this man as a part of their shenanigans, so to say, it still say the word prophecy. Well, when you're dealing with prophecy, you speak about things that's to come. You speak about things that are relevant in the scripture, that's relevant to what's going on right now. Because when you're talking about these churches, man, and these buildings, the Lord's not even there. All right? But that doesn't mean you go out and be carnal, you go kill somebody, man. No. The Lord said, wait ye upon me till I rise up against the prey. Matter of fact, let me get that. Zephaniah 3:8. This is what the Lord say. The Lord said, therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey. Now, I don't understand his reason for going inside that church, trying to go inside the church, even going and asking people where's the nearest church. I mean, you could find a church in a liquor store in almost every corner, especially near the poverty-stricken areas where mainly so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans live. But nonetheless, though, when it talks about vengeance, when it talks about death and blood and agony and anguish, no man's supposed to be doing that. That's the Lord's deal until the Lord say so, man. I'm not justifying what this man was gonna do. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, those who claim to be prophets, they know to wait for the Lord. All right, so he wasn't fulfilling a prophecy by going inside those churches, man. If anything, he could have been fulfilling an agenda by the elite, but we don't know that yet. But this is just another forerunner for them to try to justify themselves in apprehending the so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans, also known as the Israelites of the Bible. Zephaniah 3:8 again. It says, therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the kingdoms, that I may assemble the kingdoms to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger. And you can see that happening right now by a majority of the kingdoms residing and taking part in the military, expeditions over there in the Middle East, and also how the Heavenly Father is stirring up the minds of all these world leaders. Just for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. And what shall that fire be? That fire shall come from what? Thermonuclear warheads. When arrows shall be shot from one end of the earth. That's 2 Ezra, the 16th chapter. See, that's prophecy that's going to be fulfilled. All right? Not doing what he did. That's not fulfilling prophecy, man. Like I said, that could possibly be fulfilling the agenda of Esau, Edom. But that's why we got to keep our heads on the swivel, man. And we have to keep our minds open at all time to the tactics and the shenanigans of Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. Because he is a sly devil. I must give him that one, my friend. This is Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 5. Thus saith the Lord, cursed be the man that trusteth in man, and maketh flesh his arm, or whose heart departeth from the Lord. In other words, you make flesh your arm. You make flesh your strength. You make the carnal things of this world strength, all right? So in other words, that means curse to you. There's no blessing there. So what he was doing was not prophetic, so to say. But like I say, man, it could possibly be one of Esau's shenanigans. We just keeping our heads on the swivel. Other brothers have made videos on it. I just wanted to touch on it myself real quick, just through the spirit. So we have to be more spiritual, so to say. We have to be more prophetic, so to say. And this is definitely not it. There's no scripture talking about going to a church and being carnal. On the time, even the Lord, when the Lord went inside the synagogue, why do you think he went inside the synagogue and flipped them tables? Because he said, "Turn not my father's house to a house of merchandise." And he whipped them with a cat of nine tails. He sure did. But did not he also say, "He that live by the sword shall die by the sword" as well? All right. So this is Romans 12 and 19. I'm going to close out with this one. It says, "Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath. For it is written, Vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord." Okay? Like I say, I don't know who or what he was going to do in there. But nonetheless, though, that's not the way to go about it. And that's not what the prophets of YAHAWASHI promotes, all right? All we promote is preaching the word of Yahweh by Hashem YAHAWASHI, by Hashem Chakadash, and gathering the lost sheep of the house of Israel, man. All right? Like the scripture says, avenge not yourselves, but give. I'm going to say it one more time, Romans 12 and 19. It says, I'm going to start at 18. "If it be possible, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men. Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath, for it is written, Vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord." Verse 20, I'm going to just go down to 21. "Therefore, if thine enemy hunger, feed him. If he thirst, give him drink. For in so doing, thou shalt heap coals of fire on his head, because vengeance belongs to the Lord." And last but not least, the last verse, 21. "Be not overcome of evil, but overcome evil with good." And what's good? Doing the will of the Lord, which is basically feeding the sheep and gathering the elect from the four corners of the earth. And with that being said, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh Hashem Shai. Double honors to my elders. Peace and blessings to all you brothers. Peace and blessings to all the sincere men, women, and children of the 1/3. And peace and blessings also be to the confusion and face of the four corners of the earth. Like I always say, man, ask for forgiveness, pray without ceasing, stay humble, remain diligent. Kwame Allah, and Wafla Babal. Shalom. Stay spiritual.